Wow, what a difference. The Talkbuster Podcast. Hi, I'm Chris Chipman. You may remember me from such podcasts as the Chipman Brothers Tangent and Creating Geeks, a parenting podcast of great responsibility. I'm here to bring you back to the late 90s, early 2000s, a time of Amrays and clamshells, a time of late fees and VHS tapes being replaced by DVDs, a time of stale gumballs and overpriced candy. Yes, that's right. I am talking about the time of Blockbuster Video, the Walmart of the video rental industry, the mom-and-pop video store killer, the corporate big choice video store that everybody loved to hate. Blockbuster is mostly gone now. Kids today will never know the crazy Friday and Saturday nights with lines wrapped around the store to rent the next big movie. No more will regulars who are in the know arrive at 10 a.m. on Tuesdays to snatch up the new rentals that week before the weekend rush. Most of all, no longer will young movie geeks like myself have the memories I, and many others like me, made while working there. You see, under all of the corporate evil and bad practices, Blockbuster was a home, a comfort, a place where I made lifelong friends and even met my wife. It is because of these memories that I, and I'm sure many of you, have, that the Talkbuster podcast was created, a place for me and others to share our memories of what once was, of the before time, of the long, long ago. I'm looking forward to see where this goes, how it evolves. Join me, won't you?
People listening to podcasts. Look at Ziggy, 4 foot tall when he's lying on his back. Let the man listen to the Talkbuster podcast. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Talkbuster podcast. I'm here again with my guest from episode 3?
I think it was episode 3.
Episode 3,
Yeah.
Steve Brennan, to talk about all the stuff we didn't talk about in our episode, because even though we talked for a long time, we kind of just talked about Steve's entire time at Blockbuster and didn't go into the gory details.
Yeah, and they are gory.
So, Steve, how have you been since July, since our last recording?
I've been fine. Yeah.
Not working at Blockbuster,
Yeah, those days are a distant memory now.
since we don't live in Oregon,
Right.
because we could still work at a Blockbuster.
We could. And there was talk of at one of your parties. I don't know if you were there, but I think you were there.
You know,
No, I mean, you were at
this
the
whole
party.
event you've been on, I don't know if you were at it.
You were definitely at your party. I don't know if you were involved in the conversation, but I had it with your brother, and I was like, we were talking about the new Captain Marvel movie and how the preview for it was her in a Blockbuster, and I was like, do you think like some hipsters or something would ever get together and like open up a Blockbuster for a day as like a, what do they call, like a pop-up store or whatever?
Even if they just sold stuff, but in Blockbuster Amrays.
Yeah, and I was like, and I asked your brother, I was like, would you work there for a day? And he's like, yeah, absolutely, and so would I. So
I would too. I think we should just do it.
we should. Let's do it right now. Why are we recording this podcast when we could be opening up a Blockbuster video?
True, but I actually make more doing this podcast.
Oh,
than
well,
I did at
that is
Blockbuster.
a fair.
And that's kind of funny.
Yeah, that is funny. Well,
Anyway.
it was in the early 2000s, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah, I don't know whatever.
I made $10.80 as a assistant store manager.
That's about right.
Yeah. So, for those of you that maybe haven't listened to the other episodes yet, go back to episode 3. Listen to me and Steve. If not, quick recap. Steve and I worked together at the Salem Blockbuster in Salem, Mass, and my children are running around upstairs like madmen. No, worked at the in the Salem, Mass store together. You were the assistant store manager of that store when I started.
Yep.
And Steve worked for the company on again, off again.
Many
Florida
times.
came back. But we basically covered his entire career and didn't talk about any of the fun stuff we did while we were there.
No, because at the time I didn't even realize I was on a podcast. I thought I was interviewing for a job.
Oh.
So that's why I was like,
Do you normally wear assless chaps to job interviews?
don't you?
I mean, I told you to, but
Yeah.
you're not wearing them now.
Under these pants I am.
Oh, all right.
Do you want me to take the outer pants off so I can show you my underpants?
On the other podcast.
Okay. All right.
So this is going to be a bit disjointed. I think we mentioned this, not on ours, but I think on the episode with Paul. one of the 2 episodes with Paul. But there was it was with Tim, actually. So the Tim episode hasn't been released at the time of you and me recording this, but it's on there. So the people that listen to this will have heard it.
Yeah.
But we were walking along the wall one night, I think it was Tim and I, or it could have been me and you, and we came up to a cover box that had a review from Roger Ebert on it that said, "Erotic. Gorgeous."
Yeah.
And I said, well, Jesus, that's just the same thing he said about Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. And Steve, what happened after that?
So we were at a store meeting. It was early in the morning. That's usually when the store meetings happened. And we used to get these like catalog. I'm not even sure where this came from. It was like there were catalogs that showed like upcoming releases.
Wasn't it Video Store Magazine?
Something like that, maybe. But there was this full page ad for Jimmy Neutron, and so I think you were just telling me the story of that, and I happened to be like going through the magazine, and I came across the ad, and so we wrote on here somewhere. For those of you who don't have the ability to see through the internet,
Especially into the past when we recorded this.
right? Well, I mean, we have the physical thing in front of us.
And so tonight when we're recording, I'm going to post this just to get people's juices flowing, if you will.
Yeah.
Is that what we... Yeah, I want to go moisten the people. But then when this releases, I'll post the picture as well. But Steve, tell them what you're looking at.
So this is it's a framed Jimmy Neutron ad.
Didn't we give this to you as a wedding gift?
I think so, and then I
Gave it to
gave
me
it
as
to
a
you
wedding
as a
gift.
wedding gift. So it's been passed down
Like a
well,
cock
twice.
ring.
Yeah, just like that. What?
What? You don't pass around cock rings?
No.
Okay.
I'm not an animal. All right, so
I'm not an animal. We use butt plugs.
yeah, but I don't think that quote, "The erotic gorgeous," is actually.
It's
on
right
here.
there.
Oh my god! It is
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
the first one.
It's the first one. I literally.
And I can tell who wrote these, which is really funny based on
Yeah.
the font.
And so I don't know. We got things on here like.
Well, first,
all
we
right.
didn't tell them what we did. You just
Okay.
went right into what you're looking at.
Yeah, I blew my load too early. All right, so
Oh, yeah, as he always does, ladies and gentlemen. His wife is very
don't
unhappy.
tell the ladies that. So, yeah, my wife's very
All 2 of them?
yeah, really just the one. Anyways,
I meant that we're listening to this.
oh, gotcha. Whew, revealed something about me that nobody needs to know. All right, anyway, so we got this magazine, this Jimmy Neutron ad, and so we'd heard the story about the erotic gorgeous, and I don't know if you wrote this or who wrote this.
That
You
looks
said
like
it-
Tim or Paul.
I was going to say Tim. He wrote down underneath where so it's a picture of Jimmy Neutron. The logo's in the corner. It says, "A Little Hero just got a big nomination, Academy Award nominee, Best Animated Film." There's a couple reviews here from like Entertainment Weekly and Ebert and Roper, but who cares about them, right? So we wrote underneath those, well, Tim did, erotic, gorgeous, Robert Ebert.
Robert Ebert.
Right.
Roger Ebert.
Roger Ebert. Anyway, and so then it started to get passed around to everyone that was at the meeting, and everybody kind of took turns writing quotes. So there's something here from Gene Shalit. It says, "This movie chugs cock hard."
We just passed it around the room, basically.
Yeah.
One 98-minute long gay joke.
Yeah. Ass blasted from outer space, Rex Reed.
Better than watching porn, but not by much, from Cardinal Glick.
This one's my favorite. We're sorry, Nickelodeon.
I've shit better movies.
The critics agree. It's 98 minutes long.
Hot lesbian action.
What do I care? I'm not getting any. I'm a movie critic. Doesn't say who wrote that.
It's Dennis the Menace meets Last Tango in Paris.
Did you write? Who wrote this one?
I've shit better movies. Janet
I can't read
Muslin?
that. Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Huh.
Yeah, so there's a lot of
Torture. Sheer torture. Amnesty
Yeah.
International.
Where are the green men and ray guns? Wonderful. Orson Welles. Thumbs up. Jimmy's ass.
More fun than sleeping in the wet spot.
Yeah, I can't read that. A
A
homoerotic.
homosexual slice
Oh,
of hot ass fucking action.
Yeah.
So we'll give the caveat to this afterwards. We don't Jimmy Neutron, the movie, didn't really deserve this.
No, I've never even seen it.
Nor are any of these things really all that mean. It's just
It's
this
just,
was like 2003, and we thought this was hilarious.
right. I mean, you gotta think too. We're at like, because what time the store?
It's
opens?
probably 8:30 in the morning. We're all overtired.
We're all overtired. Some of us probably closed the night before and had to be back there for the store meeting, which I think this was the store meeting.
Yeah, I think we actually
sure.
called the meeting to do this.
Yeah, because I don't remember anything else about this meeting.
A little hero just got a big nomination, and nomination is crossed out. A big cock in his ass.
Yeah, that one might have been me.
So inappropriate.
Yeah, they're pretty.
But again, it was all in good
but-
fun. We were all in like our mid-20s.
Yeah.
I was probably 17.
You were, yeah.
And the fact that this has been passed around, and the thing I'm holding in my hands right now was given. When did you get married?
So I got married in 2004.
So this was probably created in 2003.
Right, this might have been the day before I got married.
Yeah, it could have very well been. And so we felt like sharing this with you because it's hilarious that this still exists, and the fact that it's framed.
The fact that
still
it's framed,
in the frame box they gave it to you in.
Yeah, and it's a little slice of
Our history.
yeah.
I love this freaking thing. And it comes up everywhere. Erotic.
Gorgeous.
So that's
Wonderful. A French fry stuck in my beard.
beautiful green penis. Oh wait, that's terrible. There's one caught in my beard.
Get me a jury. Get me a jury of 12 men who say, "In the summer." Wait, no, what's the quote?
I forget. It was hilarious.
In July.
In July.
And I'll go down on you.
So that's the finally, after 10 podcasts, the story of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius.
Yep.
And the horribly unfair shake. Because Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius was directed by Steve Odekirk.
Yeah, and we love Steve Odekirk. Well,
Yeah.
I love Steve Odekirk.
He's the guy that did
all the Thumb movies.
Ace Ventura 2 and
Yep.
the 2 Nutty Professor movies, all the Thumb movies, and Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Yeah, and you how can you not love Kung Pao Enter the Fist?
So
good.
And I'm sure the people listening to this are probably too young to remember Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
If you don't know the movie, just go. I was gonna
You'll
say
like
go
it.
rent it, but go find
You'll
it
like
on
it.
Netflix or YouTube or something because it's well, I think it's funny.
Let me know when you see a Radio Shack.
Basically, it's like so if you look up Steve Odekirk, he inserted himself into this really old
Public domain
kung fu movie.
That's
And-
terrible, mind you.
and like dubbed it over with his own voices and some other voice actors that he got, and it's again I think it's hilarious.
It's the whole time. It's just tear-inducing.
Yeah.
Tear-inducing. As you know, I am a man of many special needs. Prepare to receive the fist of fury. Somebody fetch my large rubber glove. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I wonder where my glove will go. It's that kind of shit.
It's like you're probably listening to this and like thinking,
What's
"Man,
wrong with these
this
two
sounds
guys?"
Stupid as fuck. Am I allowed to swear? I forget.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
So
Fuck, tits, fuck, cum, fuck.
yes.
Balls.
And but just rent. Wow. Yeah, you can't rent movies really. Go to Netflix wherever you can find it. Kung Pao Enter the Fist. It's hilarious.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, also talking about things that will make sense to people listening to this, as a carryover from our last episode with Tim, Steve was the person that Tim and I were talking about that was the recipient of Tim Luzz's 31 Days of Frights.
Yep.
So, Steve, why don't you let us in on what was going on with the 31 Days of Frights?
So it started off pretty innocent enough where, I would be, who knows what I was doing, maybe filling out paperwork or scanning in movies or something. And Tim would come up behind me and, just say, hey, like to get my attention, to ask a legitimate question or whatever, or ask if he could go to lunch or something. And I would just jump because, I'm focused on work or whatever, and I'm not expecting someone to come up behind me and make a noise. So basically he figured out that I'm easily scared and like jump scares get me very very easily, especially any movie that was made back then too when it was like all horror movies were just jump scares. And so that was like maybe in the summertime, like, you know, towards September or something like that. So then when it became October and, you know, Halloween's coming up, he decided that every day that we worked together, which was pretty much every day, he would do something to scare the shit out of me. And it worked.
He had a list.
Did he? Does he still have?
I don't know, but he remembers.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
He wrote like how he was gonna do it.
Yes, like he stayed up, I guess, at night and planned each day out. I'm not sure, but I mean, he got me good, and I can't. I think I'm so terrified that I maybe like just kind of got rid of those memories because I don't actually remember him. I remember the 31 Days of Fright. I remember him doing it to me. That sounds bad, but I remember him scaring me, but I can't remember exactly how he would do it. Did he say? Because maybe you could.
No, he didn't. He didn't really. He said it was more just making you. It was the same type of stuff. It wasn't going out of his way to like have like a mask. He would just. I'm gonna try all day to come up behind Steve and go, Steve.
Yeah,
and just get you to jump. But he wanted to make sure it was different every day.
And some of them might have, or like 1 or 2 days may have just been him holding it over my head. And it was more like the psychological thing, which would get me too.
Tim also out of this group he's never lost a staring contest.
Yeah,
his staring contest, or you'll just be sitting at a party or sitting out to dinner, hanging out, and Tim will catch your eye, and then he'll just freaking look into your soul.
Yeah,
it's like, oh crap, the staring contest has begun, and he won't say a fucking word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tim is also the kind of guy who would dress up like Michael Myers in Halloween in Salem and stand near the wax museum and pretend he was a wax dummy for hours on end and then jump out at people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did get him back.
You did.
I did.
So we went into a little bit of detail, but talk because you even got me. This scared the shit out of me. But you didn't tell anyone you were doing this.
So, yeah. So this was how many years ago now?
This was the last time we did After Weens. This was right the year before Ava was born.
Okay.
So 4 years ago.
So 4 years ago. So at some point I got this idea. All right, maybe a little history because, all right. So me and Chris's one of our favorite games. Well, he introduced me to it. Really,
I remember you calling me up and going, "Why did you tell me to play Silent Hill? I'm literally sitting in my house by myself, shitting my pants."
Yeah. So I had borrowed Silent Hill from him. Never played it before. I went home. Like I think I closed, and I went home that night and I played it. And you know, I like to. Despite the whole 31 Days of Terror thing, I actually like to be scared a bit. Like
it just really affects you. I'm the same way. So,
if you've never played Silent Hill, it's scary.
Still,
like, it's still scary. And so, anyway, so I called him up like the next day, and I was like, "This game is terrifying." And I think I brought it back to you the next day,
and you bought it,
and I had bought a copy of it because it was so good.
You went through all the endings too.
Yeah, I did. I think with help from Jeremy, but
and me, and found the aliens.
Yep, found the aliens. Anyway, so then Silent 2 comes out, and there's a boss monster in that game called Pyramid Head, and I mean, I don't know, he's an iconic character as far as I'm concerned, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, even though he wasn't in the original, and he's only been in what? 2 of the games?
He's only in 2 or 3 of the games, but when they made the first movie, which is a really great version of the first game story for the most part, they inserted Pyramid Head because you can't do it without Pyramid Head.
And Pyramid Head really in the second game, I don't even think he was a main boss.
No, he was there. He was kind of like Nemesis in Resident Evil 3. He's just always there, but you're supposed to run from him.
Right. You have a couple encounters from him, but you're supposed to run from him.
He's representative of like your tortured past.
It's supposed to be your like sexual desire. Yeah, your sexual fantasy.
Because he's always like fucking something.
Yeah. He does.
Steve at my party was not fucking anything.
No, not even my wife. So anyway,
I mean, there was drinking involved.
True. So we
love you, Leah.
So at some point, like maybe during the summer or something of this year that we're talking about, I got the idea that I wanted to dress up as Pyramid Head for Halloween.
Oh, and boy, did you!
And so I enlisted. I have no skill in like crafting costume. Right. I have no skill.
Sorry, I'm just kidding.
Good night, everybody.
In fact, I can't even speak.
Right.
This has been Chris the whole time.
He's got his hand up my ass like a puppet.
I mean,
well, you were gonna do that anyway.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anyways, so I enlisted some help from a friend of mine, mutual friend, and Brian. He spent the next like month and a half, maybe 2 months, helping me create this costume. So if you don't know, if you're not familiar with Silent Hill, you're not familiar with Pyramid Head.
and if you're not
Google a
familiar with
picture of it.
Steve is 5'3",
5'3", and
Pyramid Head is like 6'8".
right. And so I went for the version of Pyramid Head from the movie. So look up Pyramid Head from Silent Hill the movie to kind of get an idea of what my costume looked like. And I think you posted a picture of it on Twitter.
And I will
so,
again, yeah. Oh my god.
So it's basically this giant pyramid head.
It's a naked guy wearing a skin, like
it's a skirt,
butcher's
basically.
thing.
Yeah, it's like a butcher's apron made of human skin
with a torture device on his head that looks like a big pyramid.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like it looks kind of like a pyramid. It's a big metal heavy thing. Of course, mine was made of cardboard because, well, I mean,
I think it was foam.
Yeah, it was foam. You're right.
It looked very convincing.
Yeah, it really did. He did a great job making the thing. The skirt wasn't the greatest, but
it
was kind of like
though. But it looked good.
It served a purpose, and it was like the last thing. He spent most of the time
in the dark.
In
the dark with the outside lighting outside my house. That
Right.
skirt looked fucking terrifying.
And and there's a giant like knife sword thing.
Very
that he
similar
carries
to what
around.
Cloud uses in Final Fantasy VII.
Right.
But more menacing.
Right. And also not a gun, because wasn't that a
Also,
gun as well?
no, the gun was Final Fantasy VIII.
Right. Yeah,
that was
yeah.
whatever douche sci-fi fantasy guy.
Yeah. So anyway, as we mentioned, I'm like 5'3", and Pyramid Head is at least 6 feet tall. Right. We'll just leave it at that.
He's so yeah. It was unable to tell this was Steve.
Right. So I had to come up with a way of making myself taller, because the whole point of me doing this was to show up to the party and
scare me
and scare Chris. Stand outside in his backyard and just be creepy, right? So, I mean, how do you make a 5'3" guy 6 feet tall? Well, first thing that came to my mind was stilts, but stilts have a weight limitation, and I'm over the weight.
You also didn't want to eat the freaking dirt trying to walk.
But I figured, like, well, I'll have a couple months. I can order a pair. I have a couple months practice walking on them and get used to it, and probably be somewhat capable of doing it. But again, I'm just over the weight limit of. I mean, now I'm probably way over the old weight limit, but at the time, I was just over the weight limit for the stilts. So I had to come up with a different way of doing it. So I had gone to Home Depot and found
the Homer buckets,
the big orange buckets that you can find. So I don't know if I actually measured 6 feet after all was
either
said
way.
and done.
You didn't look like Steve,
and so I basically with the help of my friend, I had fashioned shoes out of these buckets by tying ropes. It was all very dangerous.
It's like romper stompers, like those old kids' toys.
Yeah, but not nearly as well crafted. And so I couldn't stand up on my own either, which was hilarious. So
Leah, I know that was pretty terrifying, but I gotta help Steve down now.
So we show up the night of the party. And
Brian's at my front door, and no one comes to my front door.
Well, before that though, right? I'm in your backyard / front yard area, like putting the skirt on, like getting all ready and stuff. And then I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm sitting down on the lawn. We're strapping the buckets to my feet, and like they're going off to get use, and I'm like, I can't stand up. So I like whisper shout back over to Brian. I'm like, I need help getting up. I need help. And so he comes over.
Which is something your wife's very used to hearing.
He comes over and, like, you know, he has to pull me up and then basically holds my hand, right? So there's this, if anyone was passing by at the time, there's this terrifying looking thing being walked around, like holding hands, like I'm like, like Brian's my dad because I'm like taking like one gingerly.
It's like they hired a really fucked up like mascot or like kids show thing to show up for a birthday party. What is this guy wearing a skin suit?
I'm wearing this skin suit skirt thing, this big giant pyramid on my head, carrying around a giant sword. And so finally I'm like, I get into position, right? And Brian and my wife, I think, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, Leah went to the front door.
Leah went to the back door.
Oh, the back door,
and
right.
just came in and said, "Oh, Steve's just out in the car."
Yeah, he'll be right in or something.
And Brian came to the front door, and I'm like, "No one comes to my front door.
Yeah.
This is weird." And Brian goes, "Someone's here to see you." And I look outside, and standing under, I have this lamp in my front yard, and it's foggy out, so it's just like foggy with this lamp light on Steve, and I go. And I turn to Brian and go, "No." He's like, "What? And I go, "No." And I'm like, "Is that Steve?" And Brian goes, "I don't know what you're talking about." And I go, "Steve, is that you?" And the big pyramid head just shakes no. And then because of the buckets, you start walking like something out of the Silent Hill game. So you're like walking in this like jittery kind of, and you're dragging the sword.
The buckets, if you could have seen me under there, right? Because the buckets were, I mean... I could barely stand in them, let alone actually walk, right?
And this skirt went over the bucket.
Right. Oh, of course, yeah. So you couldn't see the buckets. And so it just worked out in my favor, that I positioned myself under that light because I couldn't really see where I was going.
It was horrifying.
And then that it was foggy. And then also that, me walking with these buckets made it actually look more menacing than it actually was.
And you walked the whole way. Like,
I did.
I kept turning to people in the house. I was actually horrified. I go, "No, I'm not fucking dealing with this." And Brian's like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Pyramid Head came to see you." And I'm like, "I am not fucking dealing with this."
And
like,
then I pointed the sword at you and everything.
I was shitting bricks. I was horrified.
So then for the rest of the night, after I was like, it's me.
So we devised this plan that since my basement with like the exposed pipes and everything is pretty creepy looking, it looks like something out of Silent Hill, we'd put Steve in the basement and bring people down and have them scare him. And Steve went, "Oh, is Tim here yet?"
Oh, that's right. This was all to tell you how I got Tim back. That's right.
Is Tim here yet?
So Tim wasn't here. So I positioned myself in this little, like, I don't know, it's like a tool room or something.
It's where my washer and dryer and everything.
Yeah, washer and dryer, but it's like unfinished and I mean,
it's where I store the bodies.
I don't want to say it's creepy, but
it's creepy.
Being dark and then having something pop out at you. Yeah, it all adds to the effect, right? So I positioned myself down here and under the guise of like, "Hey, I'll give you guys a tour of the house."
Tim had been here. Tim had been here a bunch and saw me working on it, so I said, "Oh, I did something in the basement. I got to show it to you."
Right.
So he just thought he was coming down to see a home improvement.
Right. I mean, other people, because you got a bunch of people.
I got 3 or 4 or 5 people,
and it was all under the guise of, "We're going to give you a house tour," and then the last stop was the basement, and I would just be standing there when he flipped the lights on, and we got quite a few of them. So
Tim jumped.
So Tim jumped, and I officially got him back because we didn't actually say that the 31 Days of Frights wasn't just the one time. He did that every Halloween.
He did for a while.
for a while. And it's great. I loved it. You know what I mean? As much as it creeped me out, scared me when I was going through it and stuff.
When Tim puts his mind
great.
to something.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Tim, who was on the last episode you've listened to, and also the host of Cinema Spection. I always like to bring that up because I love his podcast.
Go listen to his podcast, too.
So Steve, I think, and again, you've always had some pretty good. You did Indiana Jones.
I did.
I think you did that when we worked at Blockbuster. Actually,
I did. That wasn't as difficult because basically you can I had a leather jacket and I could buy stuff off the shelf.
You pull off the cosplay pretty good. Like your Quail Man was amazing.
Yeah. So that's a funny.
That's
story.
Actually involving Tim.
So that's a super funny story. I also did. I'll get to the Quail Man thing in a second. I also, one year when I was working at the Swampscott store, it was right around the time that Episode 3, I think, Star Wars Episode 3 had come out.
The good one.
And I hey man, Star Wars.
Just a joke. I love every Star Wars movie.
So do I. But Star Wars is a very, very hot topic right now. Let's not talk about that.
Why is it a hot topic? Besides the internet hating The Last Jedi?
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, so maybe we need to set the record straight on that. What do you think of The Last Jedi?
I loved it.
Right. So we both like it, and you can all suck it.
So here's the thing. For people saying that it was an assassination of Luke's character, I mean, has anyone actually watched Star Wars?
No, they haven't. It's just how it is in their minds.
Because Yoda even says that the Jedi don't use the Force for attack. It's only for defense. So what better way to defend and not attack someone but astral project yourself?
I remember standing in the theater
and defend your friends
and cheering out loud.
During that moment. The movie had problems. It had other problems,
but they're not glaring.
No,
but they're there,
and the movie was fine. Like I really. All right. Well, you know what?
Different podcast.
Different time.
But anyway, we both love it, and you can all just go screw.
Yeah.
Go do whatever.
But first, listen to the rest of this
toxic
podcast.
masculinity whack-off session you're doing to whatever, and just get out of my life.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a good way to get people to not listen anymore.
Yeah. Do that. Go do that. Go whack off to something. So what were we talking about?
You were talking about episode 3 had just come out, and you were working in Swampscott.
So
I'm glad I have a good memory.
I had about maybe 2 years prior to that, me and another friend of mine had built our own lightsabers, like the hilts.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, oh man, like I could probably dress up as a Jedi, because I think episode 3 was released. It was right around the time it was being released on DVD, and it might have been that weekend that it had come out or something. So basically, I was just on a random Saturday that month. I dressed up as a Jedi. And people complimented me on the costume as well. But the Quail Man costume. So if you didn't grow up in the
early 90s.
The early 90s.
If you weren't like 7 or older in the early 90s.
Yeah, you might not get this reference, but there was a cartoon on Nickelodeon called Doug, and he had an alter ego that went by the name Quail Man. It was a superhero. And the costume, anytime he was, had his fantasies about being Quail Man and saving the day, the costume was always just his regular clothes with a giant letter Q on the front of it.
In duct tape.
In duct tape or whatever. And he wears a green sweater vest with like a white shirt underneath and khaki shorts or whatever. And
brief underwear on the outside.
Yeah, so he would put his underwear on the outside, and then he would tie a belt to his head so that it looked like... I mean, I don't even know. Do quails actually have
I think it's like the feather thing on the front.
Okay.
Is the idea.
Yeah.
Quails do have that. The little, floof.
Yeah, okay. So,
or like flock of seagulls type of thing going on in the front.
Exactly.
With the hair.
And a towel for a cape. A red towel.
And you nailed this costume.
So I didn't know for the longest time, because Chris was what was it for? It was
Tim's wedding.
It was Tim's wedding, right? I'm sorry, right? So Tim gets married. He's gonna have
a reception.
So
they got married in downtown Salem and didn't invite a ton of people because they didn't want to get in trouble for doing a wedding on Salem Common without
wands and witches, but
without certification from the law to be doing it.
That too, but let's not forget the witches and wands.
So then they had a party, and I was the one coordinating the times with everyone, and apparently, Steve can't read my messages.
But step back a minute. The reception was a costume party.
Yes, it was. It was a Halloween party.
Yeah, you were encouraged to come in costume and stuff, and so. I don't remember exactly. Okay, so we received the invitation, and we somehow, in the move, because we had just moved, we lost the invitation. And my wife, I'm going to blame my wife for this, but it was her fault. She insisted that the time of the reception was 4:00.
To be fair, this is not the only time you've had the date and time wrong.
That's true.
We've invited you to.
And this is on a Sunday. So I'm like, you sure it's 4:00? And she's like, oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, all right. So
damn Skippy.
We get together. I came up with the idea that I'm gonna go as Quail Man. Got the costume together. She was gonna go as a witch or something. And so at some point during the day, you texted me and said...
I texted him a half an hour before I was going, which was an hour before it started, and said, "You're still coming, right?"
Right.
But I didn't say a time.
But you didn't say a time, and the way I wish I could pull up the text, but the way it was worded...
I just fucked up.
Was like, it sounded like, are you still planning on coming today? And then you sent me another text, because like, then it was like, the reception had started. So basically, the reception was at noon, and it was from noon to 4, or sometime like that. And so like around noon, he texted me again. He's like,
You're still coming,
You're
right?
still coming, right? And I was like, yeah. But at no point did he ever say, hey man, the reception is now. Like, you might have the time wrong.
No.
And I don't blame you for it. It's our fault for losing the invitation. It's fine.
But to be fair, it made seeing your costume even that more awesome, because it's like, the whole thing had gone by and then you come waltzing in and I got to fully take it in. We pull up around 4:00 to wherever the Knights of Columbus. And I head down the stairs. Leah's like, putting on her, like, the last touches on like her makeup or something like that. And I walk down the stairs in my costume, and someone's walking past me, and they're like, "Oh, hey, better late than never." And it's someone that I didn't even know. And I was like, "Ha ha ha, that's funny. What are they referring to?" Right? Because I'm actually like 3 minutes early. So I walk in, and there's a few people milling about. And they're cleaning up.
But I don't realize this at the time, right? So I start looking around at the tables, which are fully undecorated at this point. But again, I don't register that, because I'm here. I'm on time. I'm actually a few minutes early. Maybe they're just starting to put the decorations out.
I felt so bad.
So I'm looking around, and then suddenly it dawns on me, because then I see Tim, and like, he's got, I think he went
had the costume half off. He had the head off.
And I'm just like, oh, we arrived at the end of the party. And so I was like, oh, I feel so bad, because
he wasn't upset.
No, he wasn't. And then we hung out for a few minutes anyway.
We hung out for about an hour. And then we were going to hang out later, but everyone was just exhausted.
Yeah, and I think part of it too, because I think we were kind of embarrassed, so we were just like...
Oh, this wasn't meant to like make fun of you.
No,
I just thought the costume was amazing.
Make fun of me all you want.
No,
I'm
it's
the
not
idiot
fair.
that showed up 4 hours late.
But again, that's what friends are for. You don't have to be there.
I know.
For everything at all times, every moment.
And
this isn't Facebook.
And to boot, right? To boot, we forgot his wedding gift at our house. So not only did we show up late, but we forgot his gift.
And it would have been great too, because the table that we were sitting at, planned by Tim, was a Godzilla themed table. And he had a joke from the Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie, which Steve happens to like.
Let me back this up.
Every one of these is going to be me shitting on you for some movie.
I don't like the Godzilla, the Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie as a Godzilla movie. I like it as a monster.
I can agree with you there.
But there's a great line where they have some plan of like attracting Godzilla by dumping a bunch of fish in the middle of the road.
And
or whatever.
Tim printed out a picture of the fish.
And he printed out a picture of the fish, and the quote that Matthew Broderick says is, "That's a lot of fish," and so for some, that's like been an ongoing joke. Anytime I see Tim, or I'll on Facebook or whatever. If it is that it?
I kept it.
So wow. So he's got the
I have the centerpiece.
The centerpiece here, and there it is, all the fish. Wow.
Yep. It's a lot of fish.
It is a lot of fish.
So when we all went to see the 2015 Godzilla movie?
Yes.
That was a big joke. Like, I even did the invite. Now 100% Matthew Broderick free.
Yep.
And
I was ragging on Tim the whole time. I
don't
remember
isn't Matthew
exactly,
Broderick supposed to be in this movie somewhere?
Yeah, something like I would quote. I was like, "Oh, my favorite line was that's a lot of fish," and he would just give me the meanest look.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right, so did you have something else to say there, or
no? I don't think so.
Right, cool.
No.
So I had thought, because it's been talked about or alluded to so much on this podcast that Steve and I had actually had this conversation. But I'm going to let Steve tell the story of the New Year's Eve scavenger hunt that happened in Salem, Massachusetts.
I don't think it was New Year's Eve.
It wasn't New Year's Eve?
No,
I thought the thing was Baby New Year.
No. He went as that.
Oh, Jesus.
But I'm pretty sure it was a Halloween.
Okay.
It's been some time, so those facts might be a little bit off. I'm pretty sure it was a Halloween thing. But yeah, I'm almost 100% positive it was Halloween. Anyways.
Right. Sure. Fair.
So
I was but a young child, a wee laddie.
So, it's probably not even going to be as funny as it is in my mind.
Oh, no, it was fucking funny.
So we have... all right, so me and our store manager, Scott, are closing. And like I said, it's Halloween time. It might have been Halloween night or it was just around Halloween.
So to give people, too, Salem, Massachusetts, for those that aren't from around here, think that Salem is just Halloween land. And downtown Salem is on Halloween. But the Blockbuster was kind of just in the outskirts. It's on this road leading into downtown Salem.
Yep.
So you could still get to our store without getting caught up in the shitstorm that is downtown Salem.
Yeah.
But they would also have bus parking on Halloween night in the parking lot of the Shaw's Plaza and bring people into downtown. So you would get the people let's go into this Blockbuster. This will be funny.
Yeah.
Just to paint the geographical picture.
So here it is, I don't know, maybe 7 o'clock at night, where the store is dead. Nothing's really going on. We've done all of our duties for the night or whatever, and it's me and Scott, our store manager, closing, and in walks this group of girls who are, they're all beautiful looking girls,
and we're also all very young and not married at this point,
right? So they come up to me and they say, "We need to speak to your store manager." Now, okay, they're beautiful girls, but they're asking to speak to the store manager, so I say, yeah, okay, he's right over there. Right?
I'll let Scott get beat up.
Right. So, by this group of girls. So...
He would have taken it.
So Scott's like, I'm the store manager, my name's Scott, how can I help you? And they're like, we're doing this scavenger hunt, and we need to get a photo of the Blockbuster store manager. And so this group of girls surround him, and one of them gives him a kiss on the cheek, and they take a picture and they leave, right? And I'm just like, oh man, this is before I met my wife, and I'm like, Scott, there's gonna be another group of scavenger hunt coming in, so I'm the store manager next time, right? Okay, I'm the store manager. He's like, sure. So a couple hours go by, and I'll never forget it. I'm standing in the we called it the pit, the CSR pit. It's where all the cash registers were, but not the manager's pit. The manager had their own pit. So I'm standing in the CSR
where
pit.
the safe ended up being after so
many times. Yeah. So I see this car pull up. And I see a bunch of guys get out of it, right? And I'm looking, because it's dark out. I see Frankenstein. I see, Dracula. Whatever other generic Halloween costume. And then a man wearing nothing but a diaper. And I'm like, oh man. So they walk in, and... immediately, they're like, we need to speak to your store manager. And I look up at Scott, with these... must have been, these eyes that just say, save me, right? And he's, right there. Points to me, right? And I'm like, fuck. And they're like, well, so we're doing a scavenger hunt. We need to get a picture of the store manager. I'm like, yep, I know the routine. We had someone else come in earlier. They gather around me. And, of course, the man in the diaper is standing right next to me. And I shit you not, he leans over and kisses my cheek.
He had to.
I don't know. Rule. I don't know if that was a rule. I don't know. But
we'll just go with that.
So they take the picture, and whatever. I feel like I was a pretty good sport about it.
No, it was just funny. It was just stop being talked about.
It didn't stop being talked about, and the funniest part about it is just the fact that it's the classic, like, oh man, if there was one group of hot girls, there must be another group of hot girls.
There's gotta be.
And then it was just like the ugliest bunch of dudes and a man wearing nothing but a diaper.
So if it had been an attractive dude, you would have been cool with it?
Yes.
All right, I'm just checking.
No, I mean, whatever.
I take a kiss from a dude.
I-
I'll be
a
open
part of
about
me-
that on the internet.
A part of me wonders if that picture still exists somewhere.
It's gotta be. Oh If you're listening to this and you're from Massachusetts, preferably the Salem area, and you have a picture of a guy in a baby diaper kissing you were bearded then, right?
Oh yeah.
A bearded hobbit-sized gentleman.
I might have just had the goatee at the time, but
Yeah, rocking the goatee. And you were driving the yellow banana car at the point. I think this was right after that.
it may have been.
I mean, you had it for like 3 years.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's a great story. I'm glad hearing it out of your mouth, and I can't wait to talk to Scott about it. By the way, Scott's coming next month for an entire day, and we're recording 2 episodes.
Oh, wow.
Because I worked in 2 different stores with him.
Right.
So I got to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And how often does he come down here or up here?
The last time I saw Scott was at my wedding.
Right.
And that was in 2014.
Yeah. So it's been some time.
Yeah. He talks to me a lot.
Does he?
Also, Casey Malone, who we talked about in our last... There's no stopping a Californian from being on this podcast. I'm just throwing that out there, Casey.
Sure.
We love you.
If you're out there, if you're listening.
He does, actually. He told me he likes it.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Okay. And we haven't seen him a bit. Casey's an interesting fella. He's kind of... Again, to be fair, he has a rougher time with this period of his life, kind of similar to Jeremy, who I've talked about before. So I wouldn't put it past him if he's got issues with talking about it. So I won't... So that's the man in the diaper.
Yeah. Not the best story, but...
No, I think it's great. So, let's see. Steve, you take a look at the list I have written here and decide the thing we're going to talk about next, because
so...
Pick something.
All right, so this is going to be a short story.
Yeah.
But you got here Rich's prank smashing into the vestibule glass.
So friggin' funny.
So this is... So
I got to have him on, too, since he's cleaned himself up. And
I'll put this out there. I got picked on a lot. I enjoyed it. It was all in good fun.
As you remember the last time from all the Ben Affleck crap.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Oh, that Affleck.
But this guy, Rich, great guy. I mean, yeah, he
Giant
went through,
ball buster.
Yeah, he went through some tough times, but
He did.
He's a good guy.
He's a very good guy.
He worked at the store I believe he was a manager or shift leader.
He was a shift leader.
And so we're doing inventory. And again, that's inventory was always done after hours. And
intoxicated.
Oh yeah, while intoxicated. I mean, that was store policy.
Scan,
Drink.
Scan. I'm the goddamn paraphilias. Ooh, oh brother, where art thou on now?
And so it's got to be like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, something like that at this time.
Oh, God.
We were done with the inventory. And was this the same night that you dropped the people's elbow on a copy of Blair Witch?
Tim and I went into... it was the same night, actually. So, if you listen to Tim's podcast, this was the night that we also took a bunch of Field Destroyed Blair Witch projects and went to fucking town on them.
Okay, yeah.
Tim and I went into graphic detail about but elbow drops, hammers, playing frisbee with them in the parking lot with our friends from KB Toy Works.
Oh yeah. So anyway,
that's so funny. I forgot it was the same night.
So it's late at night, and I think the elbow drop was right before this happened. I think.
Yeah, we got silly.
So we're at the end of one of the aisles, like basically we're at the very back of the store, and I'm exhausted, half asleep, and Scott turns to Rich. They're both like, it's quiet, nobody's saying anything. Scott turns to Rich and just looks back at me and says, "Get him!" And I'm just like, I have like the fight or flight moment, right? That the instinct kicks in, right? I have to choose. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna defend myself, or am I just gonna bolt?
I don't even know what's about to happen.
And I have milliseconds to decide this. So I do what I do best, and I fucking ran, right? Because I have no idea what's about to happen.
Now, to paint a picture for anyone who's never been in a Blockbuster or a bank for that nature, because they're kind of similarly set up, the entrance had a vestibule, which was split into an entrance door and an exit door, with then another entrance door and another exit door.
Right, so essentially, if you're leaving the store, you left...
2 doors to go through.
Yeah, you'd have to go through 2 doors.
So this made, locking in people who were stealing pretty easy. Right. And also, what happened to our good friend Steve here?
So the inner door of the exit side of the vestibule didn't lock. That was just always left open. I don't even think it was. I don't think you could lock that door.
No, you couldn't.
But obviously the outer door you could lock. And it's, 3:34 or something like that.
Scott's out having a cigarette.
No, I
thought he was the one that locked it.
No, he's the one who turned to Rich and was like, "Get him."
Someone locked it.
So, well, yeah, because we're closed, right? So I start running, and the only exit in the store, right? I don't want to set off an alarm, so I'm not going to go out the emergency exit. What am I, stupid? So I burst through the first door of the vestibule, and a flash goes through my head, and I'm just like, "Oh fuck, that door's locked." Bam! Sorry, that was probably really loud. Sorry, headphone users. Bam! I hit the fucking door full speed. And, I mean...
It was awful.
I think I
we
was
saw
in the
him
middle.
fall like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, because I did. I fell over, and I'm pretty sure I had my mouth open because I was probably in the middle of saying, "Oh fuck," or something like that.
Oh,
and fudge. my lip is bleeding. My tooth was my
your
gum
glasses
line was
were broken.
No, they were just smushed and kind of.
Well, they were disheveled.
They were disheveled. And yeah, so I don't think I ever really lived that down, to be honest. So that was a good night. Cheers.
That was a great one.
Yeah. I can't remember what other pranks they would pull on me.
That's really the one I remember. It popped into my head on the drive home today, and I just had to mention it.
There was the time middle of the day, I showed up. Do you know what I'm about to say?
Go ahead.
I showed up middle of the day, and I don't know if I was working closed that night or if I just came in to get my check or something along those lines. And so me and Scott are at the back of the store near the manager's office, and we're shooting the shit about whatever. And he looks down, he grabs the fire extinguisher, and he's just like,
"Oh shit!"
He's like, "I've always wondered how these work." And he pulls the pin and squeezes the handle and just sprays the whole back area of the store.
Now, the funny thing about this story is this is a preempt to when Scott and I talk in Woburn. Inside the drop boxes, because Blockbuster already just figured out that some asshole is going to drop an M80 or something in the drop box.
That's a good story.
There's a fire extinguisher inside the drop box, for those of you that didn't know at the time. That was a chemical fire extinguisher, so it was the dust.
That's what this one was.
Oh, it was too?
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I'll let Scott talk about it more, but when you call corporate and say, the chemical fire extinguisher just went off, it's 8 at night, we're going to close and clean up because this could be cancerous. Corporate went, nah, you should probably stay open. What the fuck?
It's funny that you mentioned that, you never know what someone's going to drop in the drop box.
Oh,
you
Jesus.
hope that it's always just movies. And, 99.9% it was. So I worked at the Swampscott store.
That place.
And one morning I went to open the drop box, and there was a fish, an entire fish,
head, eyes, scales,
everything. Just someone caught it off the back of their boat and then just shoved it in the drop box.
It was right next to Marblehead.
It was. So
or me and Chester by the sea.
I think I was opening with Jared that morning, and I was just like, what does this mean?
Were you working there when I stacked the pumpkins up in front of the door? This was after I stopped working there. Michelle was there when I did it. So, one of my lesser times that I'm proud of in my life. But I'm from Lynn, and Lynn is a bit of an urban, kind of more rough and tumble kind of city.
Yeah.
Marblehead is the polar opposite. Marblehead is a lot of entitled people. I love them, but it's very entitled, very rich, very, white.
What's his name?
Who would be the word? Jason Walsh.
No.
He was on 2 episodes ago.
He worked at Blockbuster with us.
Marblehead?
No, he worked in Swampscott, but he lived in Marblehead, I think. He
Jeff?
was not Jeff. Her. Like, that's my
I don't
impression
remember
of him.
him.
He had glasses on, tall.
Oh, what the hell was his name?
Yeah.
He was awesome.
He was awesome. So, like,
What
he
the
was
hell
from
his
Marblehead.
name? Anyway.
And he was awesome.
Yeah, but Marblehead, again, so my friend Jason lived in Marblehead, and I had a Crown Victoria with a very large trunk. And me and Jason and my friend Jared and his cousin Josh were driving around on Halloween one Halloween night. And I said, you know what? I'm fucking done with these people putting out pumpkins and not carving them. So we systematically filled my trunk with uncarved pumpkins.
Like, from off
We
of
just
people's...
stole them.
That's amazing.
Because our outlook is you bought the damn thing, you did nothing with it, and we stacked them in front of the door at Blockbuster, and Michelle sent me a picture and said, I assume this was you. And I wasn't even working there at the time.
That's amazing.
I thought it was fucking hysterical.
That's
anyway, we were talking about shit.
Yeah, I don't...
Okay, so we were talking about something.
Well,
Marblehead somehow came. Oh, the fish.
The fish, yeah. So that's kind of the end of. That's where the story ends. Nothing ever happened. We didn't the mafia didn't show up because you sleep with the fishes kind of thing. But I pulled it out and I just looked at the guy that was working with me, Jared. And I was
Jared Green. He's gonna be on this. Namaste.
He's
Jared.
In Vermont.
That's
now.
I can do this.
Yeah,
remote.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I just looked at it and I'm like, "You're from around here. Does this mean anything?"
Alright, so this is great. I know we talked about we did Clerks and stuff as our recommendations last time.
Yeah.
And we talked about Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. But since it's been how many months since July since we recorded, and this is February. Kevin Smith has finally come out and said the Jay and Silent Bob reboot is happening.
Yeah, they start filming soon.
He's been joking about it for years.
Yep.
And we didn't talk about Clerks 2 on our last podcast. We saw it together.
Yeah.
Clerks 2 is...
Clerks 2...
It's so wonderfully introspective.
So, it's so funny because that movie, it always chokes me up at the end.
Oh, no, I was in tears in Clerks 2.
And a lot of that, too, has to do with the fact... So, the ending of that movie is Dante's moving to Florida to marry his girlfriend.
And you were...
And I was moving to Florida. We went and saw it, and I think I was moving to Florida the week later. And, it's just so... Every time I watch it, it always brings up those memories. Because that was bad times.
Because you very much are Dante. In a lot of ways. No, I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that in it's it's kind of the, and I don't mean that in the negative ways. I mean that the easygoing, I'm just here, I'm just busting my ass. What's the problem?
Yeah.
And a lot of us are done. I mean, that's the whole point of the character, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's Dante, and everybody can be Randall.
Of course.
Jeremy is definitely Randall.
Yeah, Jeremy is 100% Randall.
Here goes Randall. He's a berserker. I mean, I think Jeremy's done that.
Yeah.
I think he did that at your wedding.
Wrangle out the door for me.
Just sing me out. Just sing me out. Anyway, so Clerks 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as fans of Kevin Smith, we went through Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Jersey Girl, which I still love. I don't care what anybody says.
No,
it's
Jersey
just him
Girl's
making a
good.
romantic comedy. Good for him.
Yeah.
But Clerks 2 is the post Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back thing of, okay, you want me to be dramatic? You want me to give you introspection? I'll give you fucking introspection.
Yep.
And that movie is, everybody that watches that movie that's at all worked in retail or been anywhere near the type of geek that Kevin Smith is, that movie, it's almost too raw. It's like ripping off a bandage. Mm-hmm. Everything in that movie, the love lost, settling for something versus going for the person you should really be with.
Yep.
All of these things hit somebody close to home.
Yep.
And he just bled all over that fucking movie.
Oh yeah,
and it's harsh. It's a fucking harsh
the last scene,
movie. It's so funny and it's so hard at the same time.
The last scene with them in jail where he's like, well, what would you do? And he's like, I'd open up the quick stop and whatever. It's like,
and I think about that every time I record this podcast. Is literally if I had no money issues, nothing to worry about, why wouldn't I fucking work in a video store?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I?
Yep.
With everybody.
Yep.
I mean that. So Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back being basic cinematic masturbation, which we talked. That's him having fun.
Yeah.
Clerks 2 was the polar opposite. Clerks 2 was serious.
Yep.
And I love the fact that I think this might be a little late, but I still love the fact of they're making a reboot of the Blunt Man and Chronic movie.
Yeah.
And so Jay and Silent Bob are most likely going to want to stop that from happening too.
I mean,
and
it is going to be Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back
all over again.
That's all.
And I don't care.
Yeah, I'm on.
So this podcast,
Sign me up.
I feel like I almost need to just get us all to go see it and then literally record an episode of this right after
With like everybody.
with everybody.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Well, I think we just have to.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, what do you think? Do you think he's in the right place for it? I mean, all his output the
I think
last
so.
5 or so years has been amazing.
I think so.
Especially his TV stuff. He's also doing Howard the Duck. He's
Yeah,
writing the
yeah.
Howard the Duck show for Hulu.
Yep.
I think that's great.
Yep. I mean, he had that scare with the heart attack.
Poor guy.
His
He
mom-
looks so good now.
He does look really good. Yeah. He actually, it's funny.
Kind of looks scary. Because he got really thin around Clerks 2 and then made
fat.
Zack and Miri make a porno, which I love.
Same here.
But, I mean, it's great. It's basically like Clerks again, which
Yeah.
I think is great about it. But he met Seth Rogen, and for the first time in, I think, Kevin Smith's career was actually a pothead, even though that was the joke. The whole time.
He still is.
He still is. And he got huge.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
Huge.
Yeah.
Not that we're svelte gentlemen.
No.
But he got big.
He got really big.
Too fat to fly, as it were.
Yeah.
Came up. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, no, I think he's in a good place to make it. What's that quote? Because when he was doing Clerks 2, he said there was a quote that I don't know if he wrote it online or whatever, and he was like, sometimes you have to go back to the well or something like that.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. And I fully believe that. I mean, Clerks 2 was my brother, who's hit or miss with Kevin Smith, even though he's the one that showed me Clerks, right? Again, Tusk, Red State,
They are what
Yoga
they are.
Hosers are an acquired taste. Some
Right.
people love him, some people hate him.
Right.
But at least he's making what he wants to make.
Exactly.
That's all I gotta say.
Yep.
But even he sat there in Clerks 2 and went, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is very real.
Yeah.
And then we went and saw Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. You were there.
That's right. Yep.
And
Yep.
that was, I mean, his podcasts and stuff are just great.
Yeah. I mean, his podcasts are great. I haven't listened to him in a long time.
No, it's too much output to keep up with.
Yeah, he's got so well, I don't know that he still does it anymore.
He still does.
He does because he used to do them with his wife.
He does the Smodcast. He does them with his
Smodcast.
wife.
I
And
know
he does
he
them with Ralph Garman.
Right, Fat Man on Batman.
Yeah.
And then there was another one I think that he did too for a while with what's his name? Shoot.
Mosier? No, that's
that's
Smodcast.
Smodcast.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if he still does that one.
He might not. He
He does it like very infrequently now. But yeah, if check those out because the Smodcast episodes, those are the ones that got me hooked.
The
on
guy
podcasts.
wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah.
And he if you hear me, I mean, outside of the fact that there's millions of dollars that separate us, it's not much different than this.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And I love that about it. I've always liked about Kevin Smith that he's talking to you going, this could be you because this was a mistake.
Right.
I'm here out of sheer will.
And
there's nothing or like sheer luck.
He did I think 2 episodes, almost like a post-mortem of what happened with Zack and Miri Make a Porno. And it's funny because you sit back and like, if a movie does bad or whatever, you sit back as maybe a movie critic or whatever, and you're just like, this movie sucks ass and erotic, gorgeous, and all that. You make fun of the movie, right? But you don't think about the people who are actually behind that movie, and so to hear him talk about it, and he's just like, I don't know what happened. You know, we were on course to make a bunch of money with this movie.
He just has a bum shake.
Like,
it's
you
like
can
it's like
tell it
everything that
affected him.
happens with George Romero. Like the stuff never took off, and everything that happens with George Miller, who made Mad Max, and even the most recent Mad Max movie, they just didn't take off.
Right.
And it's amazing
Yeah.
because Zack and Miri Make a Porno, while it's not an in continuity Kevin Smith movie, could very well just be a sequel to Clerks.
Yeah.
You know, it happens to also be Judd Apatow-ish, and him and Judd Apatow co-wrote it, but
Yep.
it's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's got the same level of I'm just gonna bleed all over this damn thing that all of his other movies do.
And that's the movie. Like, yeah, I mean, he met Seth Rogen and stuff, but I think that helped. But that movie, him
drove him
failing,
away from film.
Well, no, I was gonna say that film failing is what drove him to pot, because not that, I mean, whatever, pot is pot.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just I feel like
when
it
I
was
say drove to,
it was
like,
interesting to hear a guy that the entire joke was this is a stoner comedy,
Right.
end up not being a stoner until like his 7th movie.
right. But yeah, I mean, he just basically locked himself in his bedroom, watching Wayne Gretzky movies or like home videos and stuff, and developed what almost like a one-man cult for Wayne Gretzky for a while. Anyway, go listen to those podcasts because they're good.
I remember.
Yeah. I don't know why we got on that topic.
No, Kevin Smith's very
We just
important
talked
to
about
us.
Kevin Smith.
No, that's
yeah,
what it is.
He is.
So, and I hope he listens to this someday. By the way, the store manager of Blockbuster Bend in Blockbuster Bend, Oregon, has liked and says he listens to this.
Get out of here.
So I'm going to try to get him on.
Oh,
And
that's
if you're hearing
awesome.
this, wouldn't that just be fucking awesome?
Yeah, I would.
I think if I get that guy on here, I have to buy a plane ticket and fly out there and just see the store. I think I have to.
Yeah, why not?
It's Oregon, which kind of sucks.
Yeah,
but
'cause there was hesitation in my voice there because I'm like, what's in Oregon?
So there's a few more things. We didn't really get into anything that really happened in the store.
Aside
You know what I
from,
mean?
like, the pranks and stuff.
So I was gonna say, what was your favorite or a couple of like the best movies that came out in your time there, where you were like both psyched to like see customers come in and people were just like all about it, like talking for months. When are you gonna get in? Blah 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 blah. You know, whatever it was. Is there any that like pops into mind of like this is just the anticipation of it as a person that worked there? Was because in a movie theater, you know, you get hyped up about, oh man, you know, the new Harry Potter's coming up. People are gonna show up in droves. But we got that at Blockbuster too.
Yeah, we did.
And was there something you remember, like even if it was a tiny release,
I mean,
having like a big impact?
I think we may have talked about this. I touched briefly on it on the last time I was here, but one of the ones that stands out in my mind would have been American Beauty.
We did talk about
The
that,
fact
but
that-
go into it deeper, because all we said was we got too few copies.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, the movie had won a bunch of awards,
But it came out on video before it won them. That was the thing.
maybe
That's what happened.
It must have been
Because they don't do that anymore. They usually wait so they can put it on the cover box.
But I mean, it
Black
had been,
Panther nominated for 13 Oscars.
and that's true. I think everybody knew that it was a good movie. It had been talked about. Like it was
And it starred Christopher Plummer, right? Not Kevin Spacey, because we don't talk about Kevin Spacey anymore.
Sure, yeah.
It was Christopher Plummer in American Beauty,
right?
That's been an ongoing gag on
especially since the man that shall may not be named, he who shall not be named, in that movie is kind of
like borderlining like homophobia and also sleeping with pedophilia and all this other weird stuff.
And then it kind of is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess what
Still a great actor, Christopher Plummer.
Christopher Plummer. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that movie stands out just because of the fact that we only got 2 copies and
People were
everybody came
bullshit.
in and was just like, why do you only have 2 copies?
I think the explanation could be Oscars until about that time, because that was like just in the post-Titanic world.
Yeah.
Where Oscar buzz could really push a movie. American Beauty, not really something that's able to be sold to like a family Friday night renting audience.
That's true.
American Beauty it's vulgar, it's intense, it deals with suicide and all this other shit that's just fucking wrong.
Yeah.
And it's the art house Oscar kind of thing was not being pushed then. So I can see Blockbuster not expecting it to be a big deal. Because it's also rated R, and Blockbuster was big on they were a family video store.
True.
They were big on if you can get me a PG-13, I will push this shit up people's ass all day long. Give me a nice Michael Bay movie. Pro-America. America. American Beauty is the polar opposite of that. It's about like gay and weird stuff and like a creepy like emo kid that makes movies.
Not that gay is weird.
No, but Blockbuster didn't like that.
Yeah,
Blockbuster didn't like that.
Yeah.
They're very Christian.
Yes.
Thank you, Steve. Just like that Jimmy Neutron poster again.
Right.
We don't Paul, who was on here, is not a straight gentleman. He's our best friend.
Right. It was more just it's the irony of these, of what we were saying.
Exactly.
I don't know why we have to backtrack.
We do though. We do have to backtrack
maybe.
because the internet sucks.
But you know what?
We have to backtrack.
So I guess I'm going to be honest and say that anyone that knows me knows that I live very much in the past.
Yes.
Me too. So like, if you ask me like what's your favorite band from like the last decade?
Metallica.
Not even anymore. I'd
say,
right.
No, they've gotten a little weird for you.
They have gotten a little weird.
But that was Steve from 2004.
Steve from 2004. Metallica all the way. Korn, yes. Right now, I'd probably say Green Day. It's still probably.
I actually think we are 100% on the same page.
But the thing is that like I don't really like new music. Right, like
fair.
Some things will get me, and I'll be like, okay, that's good.
There'll be bands that come out that sound like the thing we like.
And so I think that started even when I was younger. So when you ask me like, what movie, like what event movie, really stands out in your mind, I don't think I have one, because I think for me, if someone came up and asked me like, what should I rent today? It was going to be something that was from my childhood.
Yep.
Like I would recommend Goonies, Ghostbusters. I would
my
recommend,
favorite movie like of all time.
Yeah,
and Jaws.
Yeah, not so much.
I know,
Jaws
but for me, no, it's for me.
But for you,
yeah. I understand Jaws for some people, but Jaws is for me.
But
get in there, Whitey.
So and like new movies would come out and I'd like them and whatever, but nothing that stands out in my mind that was just like, oh man, I remember when this movie came out and it was so nuts because we had so many people.
It's more how the people acted in the store. Because like for Tim, when I brought up this thing, he came up with 9/11.
The movie?
No. Like the time.
Okay.
Like instead of a movie, it's like how the customers reacted after that. Because he worked days.
Yeah.
So he got you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so that's an interesting thing. And he brought up Titanic, which was pre you and I. And he said his store manager dressed up in a freaking captain's uniform, and so that's really cool, right? Yeah. So we didn't have much like that, but I remember like there were movies that it was more video games, I think, with us. The PlayStation 2 push was really like you'd have people, because remember like video games used to get one of, but then you turn into like Metal Gear Solid 2. We got 120 of them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like and that was really the changeover period. But that it's just interesting, parallel to this, putting out movies, right? People think, I just walk into Blockbuster and this movie's all of a sudden here. Mm-hmm. But like we'd have to go in on a Monday and move the wall around. Like there was a script, this is what you do and this is how much space you have.
Well, and what's funny about that too is that that's a ton of work.
So
that would take you pretty much all day to do.
All day on a Monday.
All day.
No, not kidding. A day to do?
Yeah, that's funny. So it would take you pretty much all day
to do.
And the thing is that you would have like a planogram, I think is what they
would tell you what the end caps should have and how many bays you should have for, Mamma Mia 17 or whatever the hell it was.
Oh, yeah, sure. And but the problem is that not all the stores got the same amount of copies of movies.
Nope.
And I don't think they really ever understood how much inventory a particular store had on any given title.
No, they didn't.
Because you were expected to clear like, a whole bay for, say, Transformers.
A bay was 6 feet tall.
6 feet tall.
Or 7 feet tall. About 7 or 8 rows.
Yeah.
Of 8 to 12
like
movies
4
wide.
foot wide.
Yeah. And so you'd have to go, no matter what, you need 2 entire bays of Transformers Revenge of the Fallen.
Right. Like, and you weren't allowed... What? You were not allowed to take movies off of the new release wall until a year. I think they had to be.
They
out
had
for
to
an
be on your
entire
list.
year.
So you had to go through and be like, "Can I take the Red Shoe Diaries 6 off the wall now, please?" Because only that one creepy guy that breathes through his mouth is renting it.
Right.
No offense to liking the Red Shoe Diaries, you can get better porn at other stores.
Right. You don't even have to go to stores anymore. Just Google that shit.
No, just look.
Yeah.
It's not even Google anymore. Just look.
Yeah. It's everywhere.
It just shows up.
I mean, I had like 3 porn magazines delivered to my house today, and I don't even subscribe to them. They just were
His
there.
wife does, though.
Maybe. It's possible.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Food, porn, kind of the same
Yeah,
thing.
it's a very weird thing.
Foodnetwork.com
Slash fucking
anal seepage.
Yeah.
That's gross.
What you could do with a fucking tomato and a carrot.
What
Anyways,
would you do for a Klondike bar? I'd take this whole Gouda cheese log.
We're very
What?
much into ass play. I don't. You haven't
And
noticed
none of us are really actually into it. Is the funniest
No,
thing.
it's
Paul,
like-
I mean,
I
there
mean,
are some
well,
people that are,
Sure.
but it's funny that it comes up so much because you know what? I haven't really been engaging in much ass play in my life.
No.
Now, Dante and Rosario Dawson, on the other hand,
well, they were
lots of
big
ass to
on it.
mouth.
What are we talking about?
You
new
were
release
talking
wall.
about new release wall, ass to mouth, new release wall,
It goes hand in hand.
or ass to mouth,
Or ass to mouth. So you would have to clear 2 bays worth of movies for Transformers, and so like to try and do that, it was almost like the hardest game of Tetris you ever
or
played.
chess.
Yeah, either one of these.
Oh, it was awful. And you spent all day Monday, the deadest day of the week, thankfully.
Yep.
And then you'd have your poor CSR shrink wrapping all of the PVTs.
Yeah, because what you would then have to do is say, like, I don't know, if Transformers was coming out and that's the one you had to make room for, maybe, I don't know, what's another good example?
Halle Berry's Monster Balls.
Okay, Monster Ball, right? You would take a certain number of Monster Ball movies, or copies of Monster Ball off of the wall, and then you would transfer
Either
those
move
to,
them
for
to
sale.
the favorite section or
Well,
transfer them for sale.
But if they were still supposed to be in the new release wall, you would transfer them to sale. Is
Yeah.
where I was going with that. But yes,
Yep. The mop pulls, motherfucker.
yep. And yeah, that would take you all day.
All
it's a lot of hard
day.
work. Like, sure, is it akin to, serving
Anything
in the
we do
military? No.
Or anything we really do now?
No.
But it's physically a lot of work.
Yes, because
mind-wise, it's just figuring it out. But
Yeah.
it's physically a lot of work.
yeah. And they didn't want you using, because we used to go over to like the what's funny about Blockbuster is wherever there's a Blockbuster, there's sure to be a Shaw's. At least back in the day, obviously now.
They were always a Shaw's.
So we would go over to Shaw's and grab a shopping cart because it would be easier to just fill the shopping cart full of whatever movies were being transferred to PVT or being pulled off the wall to go to the new favorite section. But they didn't want you doing that because that was considered lazy, even though it was more effective, time-wise, because otherwise you had to, grab a stack of movies, walk it up to the front.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you
yeah.
do that, several times, for just one section of the wall.
It was chaos, actually.
It was.
And they were sticklers for alphabetical order too.
Oh,
so like,
yeah,
so
yeah.
you could have like an AS or an AD
Yeah.
not be in order.
Yep.
But if you had something in the B section that was an A,
Yeah.
you'd get fucking written up.
Yep. There was, because they
Which
would come,
people didn't pay attention. You're not coming in to go, if you need to find out where, the next Fast and the Furious ripoff was on the wall. Let me give you a little bit of advice. Number 1, we probably had it in Salem.
Yeah.
And number 2, we can look it up. We know if we have it.
Right.
You're not coming in there for that or asking. And like walking up to the wall and going along it, right? That's impulse buy.
Yeah.
You're looking for which bay's got the grunch.
Right.
I need the grunch what's still Christmas.
Yeah.
And there's 3 whole fucking bays of it.
Right.
Right?
Yep. Yeah.
So that
It
was
was
fun. It was a good time because it actually, as weird as it was when you got to like the level of being a manager or being a CSR working with a manager, it gave you a personal connection to the place. Like, yeah, they tell me in this piece of paper I have to do it this way, but it can never actually be that way.
Right, because again, they had no concept of what their inventory actually
and none
was.
of the stores, aside from the ones they built from the ground up,
Yeah.
none of the stores were really set up the same.
No. I mean, I think we talked about
We did talk about that.
You know, the Gloucester store was set up 100% completely different than any other store I ever worked
No, the
in.
Gloucester store was like a GameStop.
Yeah.
That's
definitely.
the best way. Middleton was the same way. It was like a GameStop.
Middleton was.
So anyway, we've been talking for a long time, as we do, day to do. We won't even get into day to do today. But as always, now I'm a customer in this Blockbuster we've created here, and I'm coming up with a movie, and I'm gonna rent. Let's see, what's a Steve Brennan kind of a movie? You know what? Fuck this game. I'm gonna rent Rogue One.
Rogue One.
I'm gonna rent Star Wars Rogue One. You know why? Because I want to deal with a post-blockbuster movie. I loved Rogue One.
Same here.
And I feel like with Star Wars, like we just talked about, there's lessers and greaters and problems.
Yeah.
But Rogue One is the most old Star Wars version without being a fan servicey reboot of the new Star Wars movies. I loved Solo too.
The whole scene with Darth Vader, I think, was a little fan servicey.
It was but I loved the movie. I liked the characters.
Yeah.
So if I came up and rented Rogue One, let's say we still had a Blockbuster, what would you recommend I rent along with it?
Are we talking?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, right?
It could be a movie that just came out, but I'm just saying this is like I'm a customer.
I mean,
oh man, you know I was told this was good. My son said Mads Mikkelsen was in it, and I love the Hannibal show. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, if you like Mads Mikkelsen, you'll
really like.
I don't know anything that Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh come on, you
really
should go to the theater and see Arctic, which my friend Ryan Morrison wrote. My friend from elementary school wrote a movie.
Did he really?
That Mads Mikkelsen is in, and it's in theaters right now.
That's crazy.
How cool is that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just thought of that right now. But anyway, what would you recommend I rent along with Rogue One?
So, as far my movie knowledge is not as great as everybody else's in our group of friends, right?
He's lying.
Well, I mean, not really. Like as far as if you like Mads Mikkelsen in this, you'll like him in.
All right, but if I like Star Wars Rogue One,
then I'd tell you probably rent Solo as well. If you haven't seen Solo, it was a damn good movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you there.
It wasn't perfect. It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't good. It wasn't asked for or needed.
No, but it was damn good.
It was fun.
I call Solo, the way I've described Solo to my friends is it's a really great episode of the Star Wars TV show that we don't have yet.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wow, I love that you're doing this cool extra stuff with this character I like and working him into the stuff. Did I ever go, oh my God, this movie is the second coming and I need more of this? No. But I haven't done that with a Star Wars movie in a long time.
Right.
They just make me really happy.
Right.
I feel like anything that adds to the mythos makes me happy.
I would love to see more Star Wars movies that take place outside of A, the Skywalker story, and B, the general it's the Empire versus the Rebellion.
That's what I loved
whatever.
About Solo. That's what I loved about Solo.
That stuff was going on in it. They had maybe not in Solo, but
tiny bits.
But you can have a story of Star Wars where the Empire is fighting the Rebellion, but have the story be about something else.
Have the story be about
in the background,
about the farmer that's dealing with it directly.
Right. I mean, or heck, I would love to see a Star Wars movie from the point of view of the Empire.
Agreed.
That would be a lot of fun.
I think we need that Star Wars movie actually.
Yeah.
And I know that Jon Favreau is making a Star Wars TV show.
That's what I've heard.
And it's apparently going to be about Boba Fett, which they keep going with, but. Either way, I'll watch anything Jon Favreau makes, and I'll watch a Star Wars TV show over and more Star Wars movies because I can get them quicker.
Right.
Also, we don't know as currently the recording of this podcast what Star Wars Episode 9 is going to be.
That's true.
So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Because I still love The Last Jedi. So, Steve, you're coming up and renting a movie in this Blockbuster, this fake Blockbuster we've created.
Uh-huh.
What are you renting? What's your recommendation to the masses tonight?
Wait, I'm
like I just did with Rogue One. And then I'm gonna come up with a movie to go off of it. That's how we do this. Less the booze. lets you remember.
Yeah, so wait, what am I doing?
You're renting a movie. Come up and rent a movie.
I'm renting a movie.
What do you want to tell the people in podcast land to rent? Or what are you renting?
I'm giving them a suggestion?
No, you're renting something, and then I'm going to give a suggestion to go along with it.
I gotta tell you, this all seems very confusing to me right now.
You've just picked a movie out of the favorite section, dipshit.
Okay.
What are you renting?
What am I renting?
Yes. Or
honestly, one of your favorite.
It could be one of your favorite movies of all time.
Honestly, all right. So here's what I'm going to rent because I've had a hankering to watch it for a little while now.
Ooh, I like hankerings.
Temple of Doom. It's my favorite Indiana Jones movie.
I completely agree.
It has one of the best scores.
No, it is the best score out of any of the
It is, right? So good. Oh, so good.
And people don't... Again, this movie is pretty racist, and I don't really hold that against it. That's the hatred that comes for it. Truth be told.
Yeah.
But I think it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Whereas Raiders of the Lost Ark is something more than the source material, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is straight up like a cheesy cereal. Yeah, and that's what I love about it.
I mean, then that's what Indiana Jones was.
Dr. Jones,
meant to
Dr.
be.
Jones.
Yeah. So racist.
It is. No, Short Round is pretty fucking racist.
But to be honest,
not.
Well,
yeah. Anyway, but I love it. No, Temple of Doom is my favorite Indiana Jones movie. It's not the best Indiana Jones movie, but it's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's the first one I ever saw.
Yep.
It's a fucking horror movie. It's a straight up fucking horror movie.
It's not the first one I saw.
It's the first one I saw.
But definitely my favorite. Just because of the score. I love the scene of him like when someone says Indiana Jones to me, the first thing that pops out is the hero shot of him after he saved the kids.
Yep.
And the camera pans up to him and he's shirtless. Not that like
shirtless
Harrison Ford gets me off.
Hold on. At the time, shirtless Harrison Ford, that is quintessential dude.
Yeah.
1980s dude, that's it.
He's got the whip by his side and he's ready. He's like, I'm here, I'm gonna save these fucking kids. You know, and that's like as a kid
really fucking cool.
Yeah. So yeah, Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom. So if you were gonna recommend Temple of Doom, this might seem weird and out of left field. I'm gonna recommend The Descent.
The Descent.
Have you ever seen The Descent?
Honestly, no.
So The Descent has some similarities to Temple of Doom in that, it's mostly in constrained, confined environments. But the thing I love the most about The Descent and why Temple of Doom makes me think of it is that it's a movie you didn't expect necessarily to be horror. You expect it to be more like, the trailer for it is like, oh, these women are going on a trip together, like Hostel kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then they go underground and do a spelunking thing, and it ends up full in horror. And I love, Spielberg rarely works in horror. Mm-hmm. And when Spielberg does, you get like War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
His Tom Cruise War of the Worlds movie is not fucking around.
Right. No,
like,
that's a good movie.
People think of that as being like, oh, it's just Tom Cruise. That movie's, for PG-13, that movie hits harder than most R-rated horror movies I've seen. That movie just fucks you up. Oh, your friends? Yeah, they're fucking dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and Temple of Doom has very little there's very little time to breathe during Temple of Doom.
Right.
It's just like, oh no, everybody's dangerous. Everyone can hurt you. And I felt that way. Have you ever seen The Descent?
No.
Oh. So Steve hasn't seen The Descent.
I might go home and
You
watch
should
it.
all see. The Descent is a bunch of girls with some trauma. The main girl in their group of friends loses her husband in a freak accident and her son. They take her on a trip to go spelunking. They're all like extreme sports kind of girls. They go spelunking in this cave, and these creatures, which may or may not exist depending on what version of the movie you watch, start attacking them, and they have to try to escape. And I have a horrible claustrophobia, and the claustrophobia in Temple of Doom fucks with me too.
Yeah.
And I have horrible. And Descent is one of the scariest movies I've ever fucking seen. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean it. So The Descent is what I would recommend with Indiana Jones. So the fact that we're now at about an hour and a half.
Oh my God.
Would lead me to believe that's a good place to end it. So Steve, say something to everybody.
Something to everybody.
Do you see? This is why I bring him on.
No.
So thank you all for making it a Talkbuster night or day, or whenever you're listening to this. And please be kind, rewind. Steve?
I think he said it all.
All right, cheers.
And be kind to one another.
Be excellent to each other.
Yeah.
All right, cheers.